Hey people, good evening. How are you doing? Welcome to episode 263 of the Sports Therapy Association podcast. My name is Matt Phillips, creator of RunChatLive.com, and as always, this episode is being recorded live on the Sports Therapy Association YouTube channel and Facebook on a Tuesday night at 8 o'clock. So in this episode entitled Rehab Guru, the all-in-one platform for clinic management and exercise prescription, guess what? We'll be talking about Rehab Guru, the all-in-one platform for clinic. I love it when the title just says what's on the tin. No clickbait or anything. We're just telling you exactly what we're going to be talking about. So I'm very excited to be joined once again by Rehab Guru founders David Barrow and Simon Taylor. It's been a couple of years. We've got an awful, I don't know how 2 years has gone by, but we've got an awful lot to talk about. For those of you who aren't aware of Rehab Guru, it's an online platform. I know a lot of you are because we've talked about it a lot, and in the STA, a lot of members are using it. But it's a online platform that streamlines every aspect of your clinic. The idea is it's a one-stop for everything rather than having loads and loads of subscriptions. So you're looking after your bookings, your treatment notes, invoicing to digital forms, alerts, and also a fantastic exercise prescription as well. So like I say, co-founders David and Simon were here back in January 2024. So I'm going to have to think up very quickly a reason why I haven't called them yet for 2 years. Something will come to my mind. But anyway, tonight they're back and they're going to be talking about a whole load of developments to the platform since then, including a new partnership with the Better Clinician Project, the online education company, which I know a lot of you as well are aware of, created by Ben Cormack and Adam Meekins. Ben was on the show a month or so ago, which we'll mention later on as well. And also, like the STA, Rehab Guru are going to be at Therapy Expo, for those of you who are coming on the 26th and 27th of November at the NEC in Birmingham. So if you are coming this year, then to be sure to visit us. I believe the STA is on stand T7. I think Gary, who's probably in the live lounge, can correct me if that's wrong. It's T7 or T8. And Rehab Guru are traditionally just down the road from us as well. And you've got the ST school in between us as well. So that back wall, if for those of you who've been there before, is going to be wonderful. We haven't got an STA theatre this year, and there's not a hands-on hub. So just prepare yourself for that now. But we are obviously going to be there just the same as Anna Maria is going to be there. And if you are interested in improving your communication for working with clients or patients, then again, just to plug myself, because I have nightmares of an empty theatre, even though I've been there for like 9 years now. Imposter syndrome does get us all. Then yeah, if you're looking at improving your communication skills, then come along to Theatre B on day one at 3:50 p.m. and I'll be giving a practical presentation called Mindful Strides, Communication Skills for Working with Runners and anyone else for that matter, which I had to add at the end because it's not just for people who work with runners. It's for anybody who talks with humans, which I think covers quite a large kind of audience. So yeah, if you're around on day one and you're interested in that, then 3:50 p.m. in Theatre B, just before the wonderful Michelle Lyons. So you may as well stay there and then absorb the wonderness that is Michelle Lyons to celebrate reliability. Right then, that's said and done. Let's crack on with tonight's episode 263, Rehab Guru, the all-in-one platform for clinic management and exercise prescription, with my special guests, Rehab Guru founders, David Barrow and Simon Taylor.
Great to join you again.
Hey, David Barrow, how are you? We'll sort the whole podcast thing out. So David Barrow, this is his voice. How are you, David?
Yeah, wonderful.
There you go. And then Simon Taylor, how are you?
Oh, good. Thanks, Matt.
Oh, a little bit more of a deep baritone there. I think we can kind of, yeah, definitely. I don't know where that comes from. Are you both from similar parts of the world, or?
Oh, don't get us started on this. I'm proud Yorkshireman, and Dave is
slightly more tan.
Yeah, south of the M40. So.
Oh, really?
It's surprising that we've managed sort of 15 years of working together, because despite that north-south divide, we do get on, but I still rib him for being a soft southerner.
For being a soft southerner. But what's interesting is even though you're from Yorkshire, I can still understand you. So it's kind of...
Yeah, that's what 18
David, I was
years
just kind of bonding with you there, David, for being a southerner myself. Yeah. No, it's great. And we'll talk later on, but I think whenever I have the pleasure of guests who are working together and have been working together for so long, like Adam and Ben, I think there is normally a slight difference between the two. I think there is a bit of a John and Yoko thing. I don't know which is John and which is Yono, but there's a kind of a difference because you both bring, and like in any great team, your differences together and produce something that's wonderful. So is that fair to say with you guys, the fact that you are north and south maybe bring something beautiful together?
Yeah, I think so. And I was speaking to Andy Thomas recently. I can't remember the name of the book. I feel like I should know the name, but he talks about in this book there being one that's like the real organizer and the one who's not. And in our case, I think Simon is normally the organizer. But I think it's not just about that. It's about chemistry. And Simon and I worked together. When did we meet? 15 plus years ago, working in the military, working with patients. And when you've got a common bond at a time where you're experiencing adversity, which we were in the military, and you've got a common goal that you're working towards, it's very easy to generate that chemistry. And then when you take that into a different project, it sort of follows you. So we've been quite blessed.
Good to know. That's great. And we'll talk about that later on as we get into things. We're just going to say hello to a few people who have joined us. If you are listening to the podcast, then what you can do if you join us live is you can ask questions directly to the guests and we can bring your messages up. For example, We Have Ghosts, a new album available for download at Spotify, I believe. Benjamin Crossley is here. Evening all. I believe actually Benjamin or Benny Boy was telling me earlier that Bazrat has suggested that they're kind of listen to this program tonight. They were told, "Are you interested in AI? Check out the Rehab Guru episode tonight on the STA podcast." So thank you, Bazrat and Ollie and co. We hope that anybody who has joined us and listening to this enjoys it. Also, Gary Benson, founder of the STA, is here as well in the audience, saying good evening, gents. Hey, Gary, thanks so much for joining us. And if you are listening to the podcast and you want to come along live, then like I say, it's just Tuesday, YouTube or Facebook, and you too can ask questions and share your ideas and comments live. Right then, so 2 years somehow. Sorry I haven't called. Mind you, we did see each other at Therapy Expo in between. It hasn't been 2 years with no contact at all, so I feel a bit better with that. But times go so quickly these days, doesn't it? It's crazy. Especially with new puppies and things like that coming along, getting married and all that sort of stuff, which I believe has been part of your lives as well, isn't it?
Yeah, we're juggling. We're all juggling.
Which of you just got married?
I've just got married.
And is the puppy as well with you, or no? You wouldn't do the double, would you?
Yes, she's on that chair right there.
Right,
I don't know whether you can see her.
Those. Yeah, I can see. Not the smallest puppy I've ever. Oh, beautiful! Look at that.
She's
how cute.
14 months now.
If you listen to the podcast, this means nothing to you. But what is it? A golden retriever or something? What have you got over there? What is
Labradoodle. It would be great if it was a golden retriever. It would be
a Labradoodle.
It's not.
Beautiful. If you do want to see, then go to YouTube and watch the video live. Right, so I mean, I'm not going to ask you what have you done in the last 2 years. That would be ridiculous. But I'm interested for listeners who aren't aware of Rehab Guru, and I always hope that there's some people joining in or downloading the podcast who don't know you. Otherwise, it's a bit of a waste of time. How do you present Rehab Guru? I've already kind of said it's an all-in-one, kind of one-stop. How would you present Rehab Guru to a listener who doesn't know what you do or what's special about you guys?
I'll go for it, Dave. I'll cover this one first. I mean, for those of the people that have known about Rehab Guru for a long while, we started out life as just an exercise prescription platform, and our whole goal then was to try and replace the stick man with a high fidelity video. You know, really kind of enrich the experience for patients, but really sort of around 2020 and certainly through the COVID years, we extended the platform to be what we now call an all-in-one clinic management solution. So, you know, that is now including all of your bookings, reminders, payments, treatment notes, patient forms, plus the exercise prescription. So if you think about patient journey, right from booking right through to, a discharge and also the ongoing care, we try and cover that whole spectrum, as well as trying to deliver really good remote care. So whilst somebody is away doing their home exercise program, you can track their pain, wellness scores, all the outcome data, and actually deliver a really outstanding service of just dropping in with someone and saying, I've noticed that your squats are causing you a little bit of pain. I've swapped that out. So the platform aims to kind of supercharge the capabilities of a clinician and deliver just an outstanding service to their patients. That's our whole goal, is to try and bring everything into one software, as well as being able to deliver outstanding patient experiences.
So I guess as well as making it simpler, and having everything in one stop, because the whole world now depends on, everyone's offering these subscriptions and monthly payments of only this, but suddenly you realize you've got 15 of them and you're paying more than you ever realized. It all seems manageable. So I guess the idea is not only are you getting quality service all in one place, but also it just makes your life easier and I guess cheaper in some ways.
It does, yeah. And the great thing, I mean, one of the great things about having lots of subscriptions is when you look at each of the products, they've got phenomenal services. If you take a CRM like HubSpot, they've got some amazing stuff, but most clinics don't need all of that. Mm-hmm. There are clinics that might use something like HubSpot and they might use 20% of its capacity. And so over the last 2 years since we've been speaking, we have been cherry picking bits from different platforms that enhances the existing one. So we brought on group booking since we last spoke to you. There's calendar integrations, there's lots and lots of features, but a lot of what we've got is just enhancing it. And that CRM activity off of, you know, when someone's sent an exercise program, what happens in the future? Can you send or automate the messaging to those clients to say, hey, it's been 6 weeks. Do you want to rebook? And here's my booking link. Or do you want to fill out this questionnaire? Do you want to fill out this survey for me? There's lots of stuff like that that helps you to retain customers rather than spending enormous amounts out on marketing, looking for new ones. Just look after your existing clients really well, because not only does that give you great word of mouth referral, it keeps those patients engaged. And I know a lot of your STA members are sort of branching into the health coach business. They're not just sports therapists. They're doing lots of different things. They've got lots of strings to their bow. And beyond pain, they've got a lot of skills that can help people. So it's about finding the platform or platforms that are right for them, that really are going to help them move through business, but without it costing the earth and without having to juggle too many. And so we think we've got a right balance, but we've got so much coming over the next few months. It's really exciting.
Yeah, I think one thing I'd add to that is that one thing that Dave and I discuss quite regularly as well is to see if we can become almost like this blueprint for how to manage your business as well. So if you've got all of the tools, you know, common things across all businesses are such like payments, bookings, aftercare, exercise prescription, treatment notes, all those very common things. Well, if you can just refine how each of those things are done, then we might be in a position to be the technology that powers people's very efficient and very streamlined business models. Not only can that open up some kind of new opportunities for business models, such as like subscription type things, being able to monitor people remotely, and it kind of redefines what one-to-one type treatment sessions could look like, because those have naturally got a ceiling on somebody's business. Increase your prices, increase your clinic rooms, but what if you can offer something different? And that might be that, you know, kind of more coaching or remote management type tool. So I think in time you will see Rehab Guru offering more and more education material, more and more business material, so that people can follow a fairly well-trodden path about how to do things a way that works. And especially as we look after lots of graduates and people that are newly qualified, that is a really, really big leg up into the industry, where they can go, all right, what I need to do first is sign up for Rehab Guru, and then the path is somewhat paved for me. Because I think a lot of people go through subscription trial and error to figure out how to do things. So yeah, that's definitely a direction of travel for us.
That's really interesting to hear all that, because I think across the board in healthcare, people are struggling. And I think in physiotherapy just as much as sports therapy, then there's burnout and people just not having the will or the desire or the strength to go on. So anything that can make people's lives easier and save them time. And like you say, give them ideas of where to venture out. Like I remember you were the guys who introduced me to Frank Benedetto.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we had one of my favorite episodes in terms of just innovations, because it was this idea in healthcare that you only make money when you're with the person on the couch. So it's not surprising you're seeing 8 people a day on a couch 5 or 6 days a week, and you've reached your capacity and you're burning yourself out. And whilst there's no one there, you're not making any money. And like you've mentioned, having the ability to do other things as well whilst you're not making money, which at the end of the day is what your clients need, because it's the other 23 hours a day when they're not with you, or even more if they're only seeing you once a week, that they really need your support, and you can provide it is really interesting. And having the technology to do that is definitely the future. It would help a lot of people not get burnt out. I'm interested as well you mentioned prices. We were talking off air. You guys are really kind of legit in terms of prices as well, because it's so hard out there and money is a big factor. But you kind of raised your prices for the first time, was it in a decade or something, or even longer?
Ever. It's the first time we've ever raised our prices. Yeah.
That's to be championed and mentioned. That's really cool. And even, so
we've been speaking about it for, I don't know, 5 or 10 years. I remember when we both still worked in the previous organisation that we did, and there was across the board a big increase in pricing for everything. And we felt the need to conform to that. And we suddenly realised, do we need to, or do we want to? And what is the influence impact this is going to have on our community? And we thought, you know what, if we do this, we're going to disenfranchise a lot of people. And you only have to go and speak to your mates down the pub to realise how the average person perceives this massive inflation, increasing pricing that is just happening across the board. No one's happy with it. No one likes it, but there is almost an expectation that you just have to accept it, that fuel prices are going up, energy prices are going up, the cost of everything is going up. But there are some really good organisations that are not doing that. And if you look at clinicians who we supply to, they've increased their prices, but not as much as what you've seen at the pump. And if we want our industry to survive, we've got to support it. And part of that is, making sure they're not burnt out. So giving them great either software or integrations with CPD and stuff like that. Or it's making sure that we're just fair about the pricing. Just because you can doesn't mean that you should, and doesn't mean that you have to. But we have obviously seen a massive increase in our costs, both for servers, hostings, for all kinds of stuff. But to provide a great service, our team, that's the other thing that's grown. It's grown from being Simon and me and a part-time developer to 4 developers and a whole backroom staff, so that when you do sign up to Rehab Guru, you get amazing onboarding, you get demos when you want them, and we want to pay the staff fairly. And, it's not like going to the shops and people are on minimum wage, but your food's doubled in price. We want to make sure that we're fair to our staff, as well as being fair to the people that support us. So we appreciate you mentioning that.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of optics as well. I mean, our loyal customers, which we're incredibly thankful for, their loyalty is that they see these features coming out day in, day out, new features. The platform's always developing, and also is secure. We invest a lot of money in security and data jurisdiction and all of the penetration testing and security aspects of Rehab Guru. So we invest heavily in that. Not only is it one of the things that keeps me awake at night, is that for a platform to be secure. But we invest a lot of money in that. And I think that I would always be, more than happy to hand over my money to a company that are really progressive and they're investing. I wouldn't want to starve that company and them to be running on a shoestring and not to be developing and not to be investing in security and infrastructure. So I guess that's what the kind of balance that we're playing. But yeah, there's lots more exciting stuff to come. So continue to invest.
And people have noticed it. I think that's the great thing about our industry, is it's made up by a lot of small people, small individuals, small companies that all want to support each other. So this integration that we've just created in a partnership with the Better Clinician Project with Adam and Ben came about because they contacted us and said, hey, do you fancy doing something? They recognised us as people that they could trust, that had similar values to them, And actually, when you now sign up to Rehab Guru, you get BCP for free and vice versa. And they cost almost the same thing. So not only have we only ever increased our prices once, you're almost getting two for the price of one. And then there's 𝐸𝐴𝐵. You mentioned Andy Thomas. I know one of his big things at the moment is solving HR problems for clinic owners. We've all worked in private clinics, and we've all got to the point where we sort of burnt out after a few years. Well, what is it that you as a clinic owner are doing to support your clinicians with good CPD, making sure that they're not there until 9 p.m. writing their notes, that they've got time off? All that kind of stuff is really important. But for STA members, I know a lot of them are sole practitioners, but these problems are ubiquitous across the board for them as well. So it might be that actually they're suffering with clinical isolation. Like, clinical isolation is a real thing. You can become lonely and isolated because you're treating people all day long, but you work on your own. And if you're a team kind of player, which I think most clinicians are, it's quite difficult to be on your own. And we're really looking forward to Therapy Expo, and you were telling us offline about the STA's conferences, regional conferences, and they sound like they're a real success. But at the same time, if someone hasn't, got the resources to go to 5-6 conferences a year, being able to provide them with that really good CPD and, an integration with 𝐸𝐴𝐵 or whoever it happens to be, it's just making people's life easier, so that when they finish work, they've still got energy for their family. They've still got energy to go to the gym, go and play sport, to read, to do something, rather than finishing work, collapsing in a heap, and then waking up tomorrow and doing the same thing. And that, for me, that's really important.
Great points. I'm just going to check something here for listeners, because I know I can hear almost pens dropping in the background. So you said if somebody joins up with the Rehab Guru, then they gain the Better Clinician Project, which has also got a great rep amongst our members. I'm sure many other listeners. They get each for free, and it doesn't matter if they join BCP, then they get you guys for free, and they join you guys, they get BCP for free.
And it's only for exercise prescription, so you don't have to subscribe to every Rehab Guru product in order to qualify for free CPD with the BCP. And on the other way around, just because the pricing is the same, if you are a BCP member, you get our exercise prescription for free. If you wanted to pay on top of that for our notes, our bookings, all the other stuff, then you can do, but it's not necessary. And since we do have integrations with the likes of Clinico and NUCL and so on and so forth, if you're already in bed with one of those, and you at the moment you don't want to leave, you could just get free Rehab Guru and then integrate Rehab Guru with your existing EHR. Because we all know with busy clinicians, you can't eat an elephant in one sitting. Trying to change your exercise prescription platform and your notes and your bookings all in one is too difficult. So our pricing, which started off over lockdown, and Simon said we sort of added these bits on bit by bit, allows you to subscribe to 1, 2, 3, 4 products. You don't have to pay for it all. It's quite interesting.
That's big. I mean, that's a real generous offer. And like you say, it's a nice chance for people to just use the exercise prescription and then get a taste for you guys and see when they do call how quickly the phone gets picked up, and then, get some confidence and then maybe start moving. I like that. Do I like the expression you can't eat an elephant in one sitting? I'm not sure. I'm still working that out, but it's a nice analogy, which I'm sure a lot of listeners will resonate with. That's really great. That's a really interesting partnership you guys have got there. On the subject of picking up phones, you mentioned your team's expanded. This is something which I know through kind of looking through forums and things really aggravates members when they do need somebody and things do go wrong, or people think stuff will go wrong. How easy is it to be at the end of a phone if someone does need some help, or the end of a ticket or something? Because some places are just notoriously slow, and that can be really tricky for a busy clinician. Are you guys managed to shine in that department?
Yeah, and I think that that is being one of the biggest areas of investment in the team, is to make sure that, because what's happened as Dave and I have become more and more business owners as opposed to being kind of platform builders, we've had to employ people to offer that same level of service that we did. We would pick up a ticket, and we had first response times of of like less than 20 minutes, and then ticket completion within an hour. And that's not to say that every ticket is resolved in that. It might be that we're waiting on the user to change their payment details or whatever it might be, but we still really pride ourselves on that, because I think that any technology company, it is about customer success. So we don't call them customer support. This is our customer success team, because we need to make people get to that aha moment, or they need unblocking with whatever they're struggling with really, really quickly. So we have implemented some artificial intelligence into that, which sometimes is like, can lead to people sucking their teeth and saying, oh, you've just outsourced your support to AI. But actually that has been born from a whole bunch of testing where we have invested a lot of time into support documentation, where you can go through and read an article on how to do something step by step. And then that is the raw ingredients that the AI chatbot, which we've got called Finn, can use in order to respond. And I look at some of the messages that Finn puts together, and he's answering things in seconds that would take me sort of 15 minutes to type out, and does it better than me, because they're doing it, pulling from all different sources. And I've been really blown away by how great the responses can be. But there is always a human manning our support during support hours to be able to pick up where Finn can't answer something, or somebody says, just, I want to talk to a human. Then you get through to support. So massively important for us. It's something that we pride ourselves in is customer support.
I think that'll really please a lot of listeners, because sadly a lot of listeners, and I know I'm speaking for you, but do spend too much of the time on the end of their tether and kind of like trying to kind of bang their head between a wall, and it's like, and if on top of that something goes a little bit wrong, it doesn't take much just to go, why don't they get back to me? And like even like a day can seem like 2 days and so on. So it's really important these days, and it's not always easy to provide, but if you guys manage to do that with that sort of turnaround, then that's fantastic.
Yeah, so what we also do is we put some of our engineers into the ticketing system to respond to some tickets as well. And when they see something that is coming through, they're just like, oh, I can fix this. Like they just dive in and they'll make an improvement to the platform. So it's a pretty multifaceted team, but it's also quite a kind of multi-role organization where people jump in and they go, right, I can absolutely improve that. And then we've got other people that are embedded within the engineering system, raising tickets and putting in sort of to-do items in the engineering workflow. So that's worked really well for us to have people just fully embedded. It's not a case of, oh, I need to raise a ticket with the engineering team, and then when they get to it, they will do that, and then it'll go to third line support. None of that. It's kind of pretty, a pretty flat organization. They'll just pull an engineer in. Can you sort this? And then they'll talk to the customer. So yeah, it works pretty well.
All sounds really good. Sounds really encouraging. You mentioned AI then, and that's obviously very topical at the moment. And also there was a shout out for you guys on the Unbound project with Andy Hosgood and Andy McCauley and Andy Thomas, who are guests next week. For those of you who aren't aware, the Unbound project is a community where really the whole message is collaboration over competition, very similar to the STA conference and Hands-on Hub conference recently in Exmouth. But it's all about, rather than keeping your problems to yourself and worrying about competition down the road finding out, you've probably got the same problems, or one of you might have a solution straight away. So the Unbound product is really kind of taking this in the form of a community and encouraging you to come along and share those problems and collaborate and reap the benefits together. And they do free tasters. I was at one last night. So basically, just go to the unbound-project.com and look out for those. It's a place of non-judgment, it's safe, and it's really laid out well by the three guys, particularly Andrew McCauley, who kind of heads it. And if you go to their website, look out for some of them. You can sit back and just listen to what's going on. It's all trust tree. It's all what happens in there stays there. But you will see some people really unleashing quite personal, honest stuff about their business. And more than not, it'll be you thinking, oh my God, that's the same for me. Or, and here's the answer. So we were talking about AI, and your names came up about the recent developments that you're producing with note-taking, I think was what we were talking about. So is that to be released soon, or is it already been released, or what's the score?
Yeah, so that's in kind of closed beta testing. So a number of our users, kind of like the champion users, are using that and giving us feedback. We're really targeting Therapy Expo for release of that. So people that sign up or kind of take that add-on around about then, they'll be able to use it. But I think what we found early on with exercise prescription was this idea of data being available, whether that would be wellness data or people performing their program. These metrics allowed people to make data-led clinical decisions, and the same is true for AI, that you've got this lake of data that you can go fishing in order to make it perform really, really great things. So that might be taking an initial observation, an initial kind of assessment from a patient, and within that, you've probably identified some areas for strengthening, some areas for increased flexibility, and so on. So you can take that information and auto-generate exercise programs, and it might be that we don't want clinicians to be removing their brains and letting AI do everything, but within a busy clinic, if you're able to get that leg up using AI and I'll reel off all the things that you can use AI for within Rehab Guru. That could be creating exercises where you can draft the exercise prescription really, really quickly. It could be for progressing or regressing an exercise program. It could be suggesting an exercise program based upon the clinical presentation from the patient. And it can also be for transcribing notes. So a conversation between the patients, and then that can be written into your initial assessment form. And essentially, any form that you create, so we've got a form builder, so you can build the exact treatment note templates that you want. We populate that. So whatever template you dream up, we will take the audio, transcribe it, and then populate that using clinical language. From that, you can then do things such as write referral letters and use that in correspondence. So a correspondence feature will also be released in the next week or two, which is letter writing for all intents and purposes, to be able to create a letter, headed kind of paper and so on. You could create that referral letter from the treatment notes. And that's the direction of travel, is that AI is this. I mean, the word co-pilot gets used a lot, but it is this kind of co-pilot that's woven into the fabric of Rehab Guru. So when you want to do something, it is a kind of a button click away, as opposed to having to do something laboriously and it taking time. Now, when we start to look at bigger data, such as an integration with strength by numbers, where you're gathering objective measures using strength dynamometers or force plates and things like that, then you could take all of that from an initial assessment session and say, give me a normal language summary of what we've experienced in this test. And it will just generate it, pass that to the patient, generate a report, identify what areas need to be strengthened or rebalanced, create an exercise program for that from that. So data is the fuel, and then the outputs are facilitated by the AI tooling. So really exciting, and looking forward to seeing what the future brings there.
I think that's really important what you said in there about create me a simple to understand, because for people who fear kind of AI, it's natural. I think there's normally, especially with all the media and that, but man, when you get into it, the stuff it does for you and how much it serves you, and you can ask it, the clearer your prompts, the more it can do for you in any style, and whether it's complex or even when it produces, you can say, can you make this a little bit simpler to understand? Boom, 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 all out there. So it really is quite exciting. But for listeners who are still in that kind of, and I understand, who are still kind of fearing it, it's just gently get into it, and you will be quite amazed. And again, we talked about avoiding burnout. The time it can save you is considerable, isn't it?
Yeah, a big one. And I remember someone, Therapy Expo last year, and they'd been using the AI prototype for a long while. And they were just like, you're saving me 2 hours a day. And I was like, yeah, that's great. And then she said, but do you realize what that actually means for me? That means that I can get home and I can see my kids before they're put to bed. And I was like, holy Smokes, that's incredible. It really kind of hit me. I was like, yeah, that's why I'm kind of sat smashing the keyboard until the small hours to get those types of feelings, because that's definitely what drives me. But yeah, and it's not just it's capacity generating. So you're not as knackered at the end of the day. If you can get those small tasks done for you, you're just in so much better health come the end of the day. I think that's what AI can give, is that leg up.
I think there's naturally a lot of ambivalence with it, and people are kind of, as soon as they think there's a good thing they hear, they're like, oh, I bored about this. And one of the but what abouts I hear quite a lot that generates the fear is kind of data protection and where does all this data go, and what can you say that maybe will relax people with regards to that, of this information being stored somewhere by them?
Sure, yeah. I mean, one thing that hopefully people can gather some confidence in is that me and Dave are both from that military background. And when I left the military, I joined a company where I was, it's still a defense contract company, and I was working in AI there. And obviously the data protection around government information, whether that's official, sensitive, secret, or above, is really, really stringent. So a lot of that learning around secure by design and really stringent data protection is the same knowledge and experience that I pour into Rehab Guru. So one of the things here is, where is my data going? And at the moment, we have all of our data in the UK. So that's great for UK. People are probably predominantly your listeners are in the UK, but we do have a huge number of users internationally. But UK has been our first kind of jurisdiction that we're looking after. So that is where all the AI data is processed in the UK at the moment, and it does not stray any further from that. And also, none of that data is used to train any of the models. So the information leakage and the harvesting of information around the web for OpenAI and a lot of these other giants is a really kind of taboo subject, and that is something that we guard against. And you have the guarantees from Amazon Web Services and Microsoft and the Azure platform that none of your data will be used for any training purposes. So that end-to-end processing is fully mapped out. Where's the data going? How is it stored? Is it encrypted at rest? So yeah, that is the kind of due diligence that we have to do on people's healthcare data. It's a pretty serious topic.
That's great. Yeah, that is something in people's minds. And I guess if they do have worries and fears, and they just pick up the phone, raise a ticket, and then there'll be kind of information and someone who can relax them and let them know about this. David, you've got a clinic as well. Have you just started a clinic? You've got a private clinic?
Yeah, so I've been starting it for a while, but it's really become the passion project, where when we spoke to you last time, we just transitioned where Rehab Guru had been my passion project, our passion project, and it had then become sort of full time. I'm now flipped that on its head. So, Rehab Guru is still my main job, but I'm trying to build the clinic more and more. So the website is built. I'm doing it with my wife. My wife is a nurse. So she's trained in palliative care, which involves a lot of complementary therapies, whether that someone is, given a diagnosis and they've got 2 years or they're in their last few days, for which Western medicine just doesn't have an answer, and whether it's emotional distress that you can support someone with, or improving their quality of life and their health, is something that we're both really passionate about. And Simon and I, when we get together, end up talking about biohacking. And whilst there is no word of cure that is ever allowed to be used in medicine, we know that when we reduce people's risk factors for diabetes, for cancer, for heart disease, it's amazing the number of stories that people can accumulate of people that patients that have been diagnosed with something, and then they've had a complete change around in prognosis, and we medical professionals put our hands up in the air and go, I don't really know how that happened. And obviously those are fewer and far between. Most people that receive palliative diagnosis, unfortunately, I mean, none of us are going to get out of this alive, but you do get some really sad stories, and it's most difficult for my wife when it's someone of our age. It's almost easier, and it's almost easy to reconcile it as, oh well, they've had a good innings, when in actual fact it really brings it home when it's someone of your age. And being that Simon and me are so keen on biohacking and health, it's quite natural for me to pour that into my physiotherapy, and even my physiotherapy has changed. I do emotional coaching, a bit like you do coaching. We do coaching, and there's craniosacral therapy, and I won't get into the real woo-woo stuff, but diet is really, really important to us, and people are keen to learn on it. People are keen to do it. The people that come to us tend to be people that are a bit more open-minded, or maybe they've had to be open-minded because they've tried all the other stuff and it's just not working. And so, I'm really, really excited about it, but it is a passion project. So maybe in 2 years when I speak to you, I'll tell you.
I promise I'll call you before then. Promise. It won't be another 2 years.
Clinics and whatnot. But,
he always has to have a side hustle, Dave. He has to.
That's good. It makes you tick. But I'm wondering, it's exciting for listeners who are thinking of you setting up a clinic. Obviously, you probably get mates rates for Rehab Guru, but what can you hope anyway, but what out of Rehab Guru immediately comes to mind that will make your clinic run more smoothly? Like, would you be using AI for note taking and stuff? And what other things would you put into place straight away without even thinking about, because it would just make your life easier?
Yeah, good question. So the booking link is the biggest thing. Getting my booking link sorted, sharing that, embedding it in the website, sending it out to other people that I know, and just getting people booking in at times that are convenient for them, making sure that the CRM style features are there to onboard and support those patients even when they're not with me. And that could be they receive a confirmation email, which is now supported by a WhatsApp message, so that they're definitely going to turn up. And if there's any intake forms that I want them to do, they're embedded within the emails. When they leave with an exercise program, I can make sure that not only is there a sort of a safety net email that goes to them after a few weeks saying, hope you're doing well, would you like to rebook here? Do you want to fill out this form? When I send an exercise program, I can ask, how are you sleeping? How much pain did you find with this exercise? And what it allows me to do, and your members might be able to imagine this, logging in every day and just clicking 2 buttons that tell you how many patients are in 4 out of 10 or more pain, that have got a sleep quality that's 8 out of 10 or less. You can create these sort of scenarios of, if someone was in pain today and I needed to see them, what would that look like? And you can get these alerts that Rehab Guru will throw up to you saying, this person needs seeing, that person needs seeing. And what it provides from both the patient and the clinician perspective is that it provides that red glove service, for the red carpet and white glove service for your patient. So that it could be red gloves.
I was going to go with that and pretend I understood, but I'm glad you corrected it.
You're off to a good party. It makes sure that the patients get support when they actually need it, that they don't just wait and go to their GP and wait 3 weeks. They don't wait for their next appointment with you, which is in a week's time. They get a call from you on that day saying, I see you've reported a bit too much pain here. And it might be that you just change one exercise in the program, or maybe they come in because they twisted their ankle again, and actually you can support them with care on that day. For the clinician, because you're seeing the person at the point they need care, you get much better results. The patients don't become chronic, and we are here to make money. If we want to support more people, we need to grow. So if I have a gap in my diary tomorrow and I can fill it with someone who's been alerted to me by Rehab Guru, then it really allows me to make sure I'm filling up my diary, I'm growing as a business, I'm reinvesting that money so I can come to the next STA conference and I can go on, this, that, and the other, and I can just provide a much, much better service. So for me, it's the booking link with all of the CRM activity that goes with it. And yeah, of course, the notes and the AI is great.
I think you hit upon something there, Dave, which was the adherence aspect of exercises. Is that when you kind of reach out to that patient and say, I noticed this, or, they are absolutely like putty in your hands. They will run through walls for you after that, because they're just like, this is incredible. Like it's almost like leadership type thing where like, this is such an outstanding service. And then they adhere to the exercise program because they've got nice things to use. And then the results speak for themselves. So it's just kind of self-fulfilling.
Yeah. I think the other thing, which we don't use regularly, but it's sort of something that we were discussing about offline before we started, was the ability for me to have the safety net of scanning. That if I see a person, so I had a patient this morning and they came in saying, I've got plantar fascia pain. Well, actually they had numbness in their foot. Their L5 and S1 reflex was not very present, and they had far less strength than they should have done in those root nerves. And I thought, you know what, if I was still working in the military, I would just have this scanned today. And then with the picture of being in your own private clinic with a bit of clinical isolation, without a doctor beside you that can just fill out the form and say, there you go, good spot, let's get this scanned. Where do you go? Because for me, the process, which takes up a huge amount of my time and limits the positive outcome, is that I have to write a letter to the GP. I have to print that off for the patient. So that's my time. Maybe it takes me 40 minutes to write a letter. I'm not going to get that back. I don't get paid for that time. The patient goes to the GP, which they have to wait 3 or 4 weeks for an appointment. They might see a first contact practitioner who's a physio, but that is only like a triage. It will be a full hour assessment they get with the physio. But all the physio is doing, a first contact practitioner, is, do you have a red flag? Do you need surgery today? Do you need A&E? Or can I just direct you to the local physio, of which you might wait 6 months for an appointment? And if it takes 6 months plus a few appointments for the physio that's in wherever your local hospital is to go, oh yeah, you do probably have a meniscal tear. We sort of need to send this to a TNO, to a trauma and orthopedic specialist. Well, it's a bit late. That's sort of like 6-9 months down the road. And in actual fact, the integration that Rehab Guru has got with scan.com allows me to send that person off for a scan. I did this for myself with my own Achilles 2 years ago. I got a scan within 5 days. The report came back in 6 days. And for the decision making, whether it's a sports massage therapist, whether it's a sports therapist, a physio, an osteopath, the decision making around, do we keep doing rehab and treatment? Do we send this person off to the GP? Do I speak to one of my friends who is a sports medicine doctor and get them to see them? Those kind of decisions are really, really important. And unless you think someone's got a red flag, and whether you're a sports massage therapist, a sports therapist, or a physio, you're all trained to detect red flags. So you all know that you're just going to package that person off to A&E. But it's everything else, where do you need to have surgery, or do you just carry on with rehab? Those are really important decisions that soak up all of your manpower, a huge amount of your time, and they just stop you managing the patient properly. So our scan.com integration, although it's not something I would use every day, that for me is absolute gold.
That's really interesting. And I think, a whole episode on that would be fascinating, because it is for people who haven't quite understood. I'd love the comments. If you are using scan.com, then let me know if you're a non-allied health professional. But the idea is you don't have to be an allied health professional now to fill this out. You just put it onto the website. It then goes to a special team and they consider it. They might send questions to you, questions to the patient, and then it's all organised. So you're missing out, like you say, like David has said, the delays in between. But it's a real interesting solution to non-allied health professionals who traditionally will struggle contacting a doctor, or even getting a doctor, a GP to listen to them, because they have to narrow it down. They go, "You're not physio," oh, and they'll just put you to the bottom of the pile. So that's a really big, interesting thing, which I wish we had longer to talk about with people. But if you listen to the podcast and you are using scan.com, particularly if you're not an allied health professional, then we'd love to know. Go along to YouTube, is probably the best place, and leave something in the comments there. I always kind of say this, the thing that scares me about doing a weekly podcast is we have a great topic, amazing guests like yourselves, and then it's like next week something else comes along. But the idea is, the reason we film these on YouTube is because YouTube's fantastic for comments and the links with Google. So leave a comment there, we will get back to you, and it keeps the conversation going. Even like a year after the podcast, we get some great comments and feedback. So use YouTube, people. Yeah, fascinating. And we had a comment here regarding AI from Stuart. I'm going to say Sahan, but forgive me if that's not the pronunciation, Stuart. But Stuart says, working in the therapy world these days means wearing a lot of different hats. You're right in saying that therapists have to develop a range of skills. I'll admit I've been a bit skeptical about AI up to now, but I'll definitely be taking a closer look at Rehab Guru to see what these new features can do in the future. Yeah, good shout, Stuart. I understand and appreciate the fear and the lack of trust that a lot of people have got, often because of social media and that. But it's just, anyone complaining about burnout and not having time, wow, it can save you, and it can produce something which is not, your clients are not going to go, "Oh, this was written by a robot." No. They're going to think, "Wow, this person's contacting me like that so quickly to check about this because I filled this out." And it's a way of, empathy is not just face to face, is it? Empathy is looking after somebody when you're not there, and then receiving a message and then thinking, "Wow, they're considering me." So it's fantastic. It's very exciting.
Yeah. I think on that, it is not kind of like binary. It's not AI or nothing. It's just like sprinkling in of a little bit of magic that can take away some of the time consuming tasks so that you can do more of what you're really good at and what you love doing. And generally that is probably being patient facing. So if you can kind of compress the admin aspect of your role, gives you more clinical time with the patient, then everyone's a winner. And I think that people are a lot happier because of that. So yeah, I think AI is definitely something to just sprinkle in wherever you can, and that's probably the way to do it, rather than AI or nothing.
That's a good point. Yeah, it's not black and white, it's not polarized, it's sprinkling it in. I love your analogies this evening. I prefer that too. You can't eat an elephant in one sitting.
And red gloves.
I'm red gloves and white carpet. Sounds like something out of Dexter. I'm like, what's he doing?
Elbow length red gloves. I'm sure you'd love to see that.
Benjamin Costa here has got a great question as well, which will be a good clarification. Thanks, Ben, for asking this. Can I quickly recap? Says Ben, the software uses AI to record, transcribe your subjective and objective assessments and can reword everything into written, clinical, worded soap notes.
Yes.
There you go, Ben. That's cleared it up for you. Yeah, that's the joy of it. And the idea is, it comes around this idea, then you can maintain, talking of empathy, you can maintain the contact with the client or patient. They're not wondering what you're writing down and scratching away. You're not breaking that thread of their conversation maybe and them stopping, not unpeeling the next layer of the all-important subjective. So you can really kind of give them the attention they need and deserve, and not be scribbling down, and accuracy as well, and time saving. And there's so many benefits for it. And as you mentioned earlier on, it's not a case with Rehab Guru anyway of this data being shared or sent to anyone else. It's still sensible not to include. I mean, what data would you recommend is not mentioned if you've got AI recording it? Is there still things you should avoid just in case, or is it a case of it's all safe and don't worry?
I think in the case of our system, where we kind of guarantee that closed loop, then you're fine to have your open and frank discussions with your patients and include everything, because the initial recordings, those will be deleted after a certain amount of time, and then you've got the transcription, and that is exactly the same as a medical note. It's treated and encrypted in exactly the same way. So there's nothing off the table in that respect. I think if I was doing my, kind of wider education of everybody that is potentially using AI and jumping on ChatGPT, then that's a different story. Your data is immediately going to the US, of which, after that, who knows? You're not protected under the EU aspects, or even the UK GDPR aspects of privacy, and there has been tales of information being used in legal cases with people asking ChatGPT for legal advice and on how to kind of circumvent a certain law or something like that, and then it appears in evidence. So I think that there's a heavy amount of caution with a general service, and that includes everything from Gemini, from Google, Anthropic, your Claude models, your Perplexity, and anything that you might be using online, and also OpenAI and ChatGPT. So people should do the due diligence, and really just think, right, where is my data going? Who can I trust in this game? And if you start looking through T's and C's and you're left guessing, then probably that's a bit of a red flag. So yeah, you're looking for companies being kind of ultimately transparent about what they do with the data, where they store it, where they process it, and then you can get more comfortable with that.
That's really good to hear from you, Simon, because it shows that if you're aware of the dangers of the other forms of AI, then it means that you really are keeping your eye on what's happening, in your company in Rehab Guru. So it's good. It's a good warning. Benjamin mentions it's also what could be missed with the chat. Yeah, I mean, if you're doing your active listening well, not only are you listening to what the client's saying, you're thinking of what your question is going to be next, or whether you're going to let them continue. And it's hard work, active listening, and it's difficult to remember all of that and even write it all down. So AI, again, just provides you with a perfect platform to really focus. And then also the beauty of summaries and things, and you don't have to listen to it all back again. You can say, create me a little summary and not more than 150 words of what the conversation was about. Bam, it's there. It's wonderful. Or create me a PowerPoint slide, or do anything you want. Make me a picture of this. Give me an image representation of what. It's just crazy when you get into it. It really is beautiful. And it's something we should stop fearing. There's this idea that AI is going to take over, but no. We need to start working with AI. Otherwise, people who do work with AI are going to start taking over your jobs. It's not AI that's going to take over. It's going to be people who are using it, and you're not. That's the problem. So get with it. It's no more different really than just looking something up on the internet. It's just the next step onwards. So
yeah, I think there's a big thing that I do with the company that I work with is that they just call it AI literacy, of people being aware. So listen to things like the Times Tech podcast, and you do a little bit of learning about it. So then you start to understand, okay, so it's not magic. There's nothing artificial about it. It's just statistics. And then once you can get through that, a little bit of, maybe read a book on it, because that will start to dispel some of the myths and fear around it. And the more you understand, the more you'll then be able to benefit from it. So yeah, I think that's one thing that I would add in, is just try and raise your AI literacy, and then you'll become even better at using it.
That's a great point. Yeah, just watch out for misinformation, get some good information. 8:58, that flew by. I must say, actually, using AI, just a little anecdote, little story here. My son, who's like 10 years old, he's getting into music, and he's a band at school, and he's like, I need a poster for school, Dad. We want to call ourselves the Cookie Crew or something, and he says, I want to make it. He started trying to draw this poster of 3 cookies, one playing the keyboard, one beatboxing, and one playing the guitar. And I was watching him draw this, bless him. And I said, do you want to make you a little poster of that? And he's like, can you do that? I said, yeah. So into Canva, into the AI, just put this ridiculous prompt in of give me 3 cookies, one playing the guitar, one on keyboard, one on beatboxing. Make the guitarists have big arms, make them look teenager and a little bit streetish, and then create that and make it into a poster where we can advertise the next time they're playing together. And my 10-year-old's like watching, going, oh wow, I've heard about this. This is Canva, isn't it? This is amazing. And within like 30 seconds, this poster just appeared, which was just like beautiful. It was like, and it's just a celebration of where we are with technology. So obviously, I mean, that's for parents and stuff, but you can do the same thing now when you're creating stuff for your own advertising and marketing. It's another world. That is the pro version of Canva, I must admit. But yeah, it's a great world out there. Really cool. And Rehab Guru are nailing it as part of their wonderful platform, and that's something to get very excited about. Right, yeah, we're there time-wise. Gary Benson, founder of the STA, says, thank you very much, gents. Look forward to catching up at Therapy Expo. Indeed, you guys are going to be at Therapy Expo. Did you find out the stand? Was it TB31? TB31. Fantastic. So if you are going up to Therapy Expo, then TB31, and I think we're at TE7 or TE8, and the ST School are just next to us. So don't worry, don't get any of this FOMO stuff. If you can't make it, that's fair enough. Don't worry, just listen to the podcast, and I'm sure we'll do lots of catch-ups, and we'll talk about what's happening. But if you are going there, yeah, make sure you check out the Rehab Guru stand with David and Simon. Some wonderful conversations to go on there. What did you mention? That people who do sign up with you on the day there, you mentioned that there's some discounts and stuff and things they can benefit from.
Did we? That's news to me.
I thought you mentioned something. Or will they get the AI early or something?
Yeah,
or was there something you mentioned?
Yeah, that's what we're doing. We're planning to have the AI product live by then, because it's currently in beta trial. So it's just a question of giving people some access to that.
Yeah, and we're offering things such as, like a VIP onboarding where you get free migration of all your data from your existing platform, an hour with me or Dave or one of our customer success team just to assist you on your way. So there's a lot to be benefited from signing up at the Therapy Expo. Yeah, those are the things that we're adding in. There's no blanket discount that we've announced just yet.
We'll make sure that it goes into the show notes. But yeah, it'd be great to be able to test out that AI. Just talk to you guys. It's the whole thing, isn't it? Just face to face and networking and talking to other people. And yeah, really looking forward to it. Very exciting. So thank you so much, David Barron, Simon Taylor. Appreciate the time. It sounds like a really exciting time for you guys and anyone joining up with the Rehab Guru. So I'm looking forward to catching up with you at Therapy Expo. What do we got next week? Just to let you people know. Thank you everyone who joined us live as well. Thanks for the questions. We hope that people from Basrat who are listening to this have found it interesting. And if you have got further questions or you need to report back to Ollie or somebody, then yeah, use YouTube if you can. Please let the conversation keep going. Next week on Tuesday, November the 18th at 8 o'clock, as I said earlier, my guests are going to be the founders of the Unbound Project, Andy Hosgood, Andrew McCauley and Andy Thomas. They're going to be talking to me. It's been 9 months since they were last on the show. They were with me on January 25. And they're going to be talking about what's changed in the Unbound Project, which, just to remind you, is a fantastic community, all about collaboration over competition. And like I say, they do offer free online taster sessions, which I recommend if you're a healthcare business owner, and whether it's one of you or whether you're a manager of staff, just go along, go to unbound-project.com and look for the next free taster session. You can just sit back and listen. It's a beautiful atmosphere. It's everything it should be about, with collaboration, a safe place for you to share your problems and not think anyone's going to steal your ideas, and really healthy. I would just do it to be a better human being. Okay, I've sold it enough now. But until then, thank you once again, David and Simon. And if you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's all we ask, so that the great word of our guests appears higher in Google. It makes all the difference. If you can leave a rating or review, it just chucks it up there. So when someone does put in AI in healthcare, bam, Rehab Guru will be there. It's just the way it works. So it'll take you a minute or something if you're on an iPhone, maybe a few minutes if you're on Samsung, and you'll probably have to do loads of stuff, but it's still worth it rather than signing over to the dark side. But yeah, we appreciate it. Please do that. Until then, take care of each other and yourselves, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.